We are one night away from Game 2 of the PBA Governors Cup Finals, and now it's time to take a look at the biggest matchups to watch out for in this epic series. Now, helping us out is PBA Rush analyst Coach Mark Molina. Coach, it's always great having you here. Unfortunately, we won't have you here for the entire show, but we will make sure that we get the most out of you here today. So, you take a look. We're gonna ask the hard questions muna, Z. Oh, because Coach Mark loves hard questions. Import matchup between Barangay Ginebra and TNT Tropang Giga will always be interesting because you have an NBA vet in Rondae Hollis-Jefferson and a guy who we consider almost as basically the Michael Jordan of imports here in the Philippines, in Justin Brownlee. You take a look at this matchup. How can either of these players get the edge over the other? Who do you have over the other? There are just so many questions with regards to these two.
First of all, in that game, stats-wise, it was even.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about game 1.
Yeah.
But I don't consider it even because Justin Brownlee made the early work. He was able to set the tone in that first half. I think he had like 22 points in that first half. Got that lead for Barangay Ginebra, and TNT never recovered. So in that game 1, advantage definitely to Justin Brownlee. So to me, who sets the tone early in this matchup? I expect RHJ to have a big start in game number 2. They need to. TNT needs to grab a lead early in this game to make this competitive. And I think RHJ will be very aggressive from the start in game 2.
Now let's move over to the locals. Number 1 locals, Mikey Williams versus Scotty Thompson. How crucial are their roles for their teams?
Very different players. Mikey Williams is the better scorer, but Scotty is of course, we all know what Scotty does. He is the complete player, all-around player, the best all-around player in the league MVP. But if Mikey Williams can get to that form again, then TNT can win this series. If we see the Mikey Williams that we've been seeing this conference, inconsistent, he scored what? I think 21 points in game 1, but very low field goal percentage.
Yeah.
That's not going to do it. It has to be Mikey Williams scoring in the high 20s, 25, 26, 27 points a game, and shooting at a high percentage. On the other hand, Scotty is a given. It's pretty much what you can count on him pretty much the same way every single game, which is not Mikey Williams.
23 points actually itong si Mikey Williams, but then to your point, not even in the high 20s. So you look at Mikey, itong si Scotty Thompson, his 8th career triple-double with 10, 13, and 11, and he has had so many close triple-doubles before. But one of the more intriguing matchups, Coach, is the fact that si Calvin Oftana and Jamie Malonzo, the younger players here, the longer players here for both these two teams have been making such a big difference. And not only that, they guard each other also.
Absolutely. To me, this is the most fun matchup in this series. Two guys who are very athletic, very similar players. These two guys can hit the outside shot. In game number 1, I thought Jamie got the better of Calvin a bit. And I think he's the reason why they won that game. I mean, Scotty got that triple-double. He did the deal there for Coach Tim Cohn. Calvin was not too bad, not too shabby. I think he played well.
Yeah.
But he's coming off the bench. I don't know. Coach Jolas might rethink and maybe Calvin Oftana starts game 2.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. Do you feel that given the type of production Calvin Oftana gives, that starting Calvin Oftana is the obvious change that Coach Jolas has to make to match up with the firepower of Barangay Ginebra, considering that we're still asking the question, Jamie Malonzo is the 3rd best, 2nd best player on the team because you have a Christian Stanhardiger and a Scotty Thompson there. And if you look at the other end, I mean Brownlee as well, maybe 4th, right? And Calvin Oftana, on the other hand, coming off the bench and is still one of the best offensive producers of TNT.
I will, because you cannot fall behind here. If you're TNT, if you look at the TNT starting lineup, of course Chua got injured, but Justin Chua played like 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Varilla started and played like 5 or 6 minutes. So my question is, why do you need to start Paul Varilla there? You're looking at at this Ginebra starting lineup. 4 players played in the 40s, pretty much in the 40s. The 4 players that you mentioned. So Tim Cohn sticking to what is working. Now, if your coach Jojo Lastimosa, maybe you need to start strong. And how do you start strong? You put in your best 5 players on the floor, and that includes Calvin Oftana.
We've talked about the matchups here. Ginebra winning game number 1 for TNT. Who do you think needs to step up so much more for them to maybe catch game number 2?
Yeah.
Definitely, it's Aral Pogoy. Aral Pogoy was the biggest disappointment. I hate to say this because I love the guy. He's my
RRO.
inaanak. He's my inaanak in his wedding. So I love the guy so much. But we have to call a spade. You can't call a spade a spade. Because RR struggled big time in game number 1 and TNT could not recover from it. I expect him to bounce back tomorrow.
Well, see, Roger Ray Pogoy, only 6 points in that game. Of course, I was waiting for the opportunity to call him Pogdonovich, but it was not going to happen. Of course, you take a look at all of that with RR Pogoy having to make a big difference here and change things. Still, a lot of people are saying, are TNT really that far away from Barangay Ginebra, or do you feel that it's a closer series than Game 1 suggested?
It will be. I thought before game 1, I thought it was 50-50. But Ginebra showed how much they can dominate TNT.
Yeah.
Playing mostly their starting lineup plus Pringle.
Yeah.
It's like a 6-man rotation here for Coach Tim Cone. Now the question is, can you do this for 7 games? Maybe in the mind of Coach Tim Cone, maybe I don't need 7 games.
Yeah,
maybe this ends in 4 and 5.
Yeah.
But I think it should be more competitive than what we saw in Game 1. But I think Game 2 is the crucial game here. If TNT can pull off Game 2, it might be an extended series.
Oh, and speaking of Game 2 of the best-of-7 series between Barangay Ginebra and the TNT Tropang Giga happens tomorrow, April 12 at the Smart Araneta Coliseum. You can catch that live on PBA Rush Signal Channels 260 HD and 90 SD, also available for free on Signal Play.